Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Easy Accounting Channel. Today we are going to talk about GST, HST return in Canada. How to complete your form on goods and service tax and harmonization sales tax, GST, HST return working copy. So you have the copy with you. So let's get started. You enter your personal business information. If you are completing your GST electronic, your personal information is pre-populated. While if you are completing it personally, your business information is pre-printed. But if you are completing a non-personal GST return, you need to complete your personal information. You will need the following: your business number, your company name, your reporting period, and the due date for which you are filing the GST. Builder of new or substantial renovated housing. So certain builder must file their GST return using GST HST net file only. So other builder may have to file their GST or HST return using another electronic method. So we have different lines to enter your information on the GST or HST return. We start with line 101. You enter your total sales and other revenue, and line 101. So the regular method, if you're using paper return for a GST or HST, you enter the amount of revenue from supplies of property and services, including zero rated exempt supply. Also, line 101, you enter the amount of revenue from taxable supplies of property and services, including the GST. So if you're using quick method, do not include supplies on which the customer do not have to pay tax, sales of real property, and sale of capital asset. So line 103, GST collected or collectible. If you're doing it electronic, does not appear on the electronic return. But if you're using regular method, you enter all the GST you were required to collect, as well as all the amount of GST collected on your supply of property and services. So do not include the taxable of real property if you are not required to collect the tax payable. Line 104, adjustment to be added to the net tax. So line 104 do not appear on electronic return. But if you're using paper return, you have to make adjustment to increase the amount of your net tax for the reporting period. For example, if you wrote up the GST amounts of any bad debt on the previous return and then recover some of those bad debts, you have to add the amount of the GST you have recovered. And if you have to claim 100% of ITC for lease payment for a passenger vehicle, these lease payments are more than the maximum lease cost. So let's talk about bad debt recovery. If you claim a bad debt adjustment on line 107 and you later receive a payment towards that debt, you have to make an adjustment in your line 105. So line 105 is the total GST and HST adjustment for the period. Line 106 is GST paid or payable. And if you're using electronic, does not appear. But if you're using paper regular method, Eligible EST for GST paid or payable on the value of property and services you acquired, you imported or bought. Line 107 is adjustment to be deducted when determining the net asset, net tax. 107, that is line 107, does not appear on an electronic return. But if you're using a regular method, complete the line if you have adjustment that decrease the amount of your net tax for the reporting period. Line 108 is the total ITC and the adjustment. So if you file a paper return, line 106 and line 107, you enter the result on line 108 and also enter this amount on the return in part 2. So line 109, net assets. Filing a paper return, you have to subtract line 108 from line 105 and enter the amount on line 109. This is your net tax. And also enter this amount on the return portion in part 2. So line 110, installments and other annual filer payment. You enter the total amount of the quarterly installment you paid in the year. If you file a paper return, enter this amount on the return portion in part 2 that you send to CRA. And these tax remits must be received by CRA by April 30, 2021. Line 111, rebates. You enter the amount of the rebates you are claiming. So if you file a paper return, enter this amount on the return portion that you send to CRA. Then line 111, amount from GST, from form GST 66, application for GST and HST public service body rebate and GST self-government refund. That amount from form GST 189, general application for rebate of GST. That amount from form GST 524, GST and HST new return. So line 112 will be the total order credits. This does not appear on electronic, but if you're using paper, you have to add this line 110 and 111 to enter the result on line 112. Then line 113A, the balance, also does not appear on electronic. So paper return, you subtract line 112 from line 109 and enter the result on line 113. So line 204, that is the GST and HST due on the purchase of real property or purchases of emission allowances. So you complete this line if all the following conditions apply. Number 1, you are a registrant, you purchase taxable real property and taxable supplies of emission allowance and the use or supply of real property or emission allowance in the course of your commercial activity, which is more than 50%. So you enter the amount on the GST due on the purchase of real property or emission allowances on this line. So let's talk about line 405, other GST to be self-assessed. You complete this line if any of the following situations apply. You are a registrant and have to self-assess the provision part of GST on property, on services brought into a participating province. And also you are a registrant who import a taxable supply for consumption use or supply less than 90% in your commercial activity. Or you are also an international organization, an internal use of a support resources or intangible resources in Canada. So line 113B has the total order debts, total order debits. So line 113 does not appear if it is electronic, but if it is paper, you have to add line 205 and line 405 to give you the result on line 113B. And the balance on line 113C, electronic does not appear, but if you're using paper, you have to add line 113A and line 113B and enter the result on line 113C. So line 114, refund claim. So if the amount on line 1136 is negative, you enter this amount on line 114 to claim your refund. And if you file a paper return, enter this amount on the return portion that you send to CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. So if you are filing your return using GST or HST net file or telefile, line 114 will be calculated automatically based on the information you have provided to CRA. Line 115, amount owing. So if the amount on line 113C is positive, you enter this amount on line 115. And you can pay CRA using your financial institution or telephone banking service, or you do not need a remitter voucher to pay online. You can also pay electronic using your CRA My Payment option. Thank you for coming to my channel. I hope to see you in my next video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.